Hello everybody, it's Ros from Frequent Traveller, and today we're in Norseman in Western Australia, and that marks the beginning of the Nullarbor Plain. So we're going to be taking the 1200 kilometre journey through Western Australia and to South Australia to Ceduna, all along the bottom of Australia. So come along with us. But first, let's go and have a look at Norseman. Norseman town clock commemorates the centenary of Norseman and is shaped like the head frame of a mine shaft. The historic Norseman Hotel, the Norseman IGA where you can pick up the last minute items before crossing the Nullarbor, the 10 camels of Norseman commemorate the early camel trains which took supplies to and from Norseman, and there are a number of beautiful old buildings. So let the journey begin. A beautiful morning to start a road trip. So it's going to take us a few days to cross the Nullarbor. Our first stop will be Mundrabilla, which is 6.5 hours away. Don't you just love this sign? So as you can see, we have to be on the lookout for emus, camels and kangaroos. Ooh, and if you like our videos, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. And here we are at Balladonia. If you're looking for accommodation, there's a motel and caravan park. There's tourist tips for Balladonia and beyond. And you can learn about the day that Skylab dropped in on Balladonia. There's a playground for the kids. Discover the history of Balladonia and Balladonia Hotel. Revive with a coffee and meal. Or buy a gift from the gift shop. Visit the museum, where you'll find out more about this fascinating region. Or you can learn about the Round Australia reliability trials of the 1950s. And get to see a chunk of Skylab. Balladonia is an interesting place. In 1979, Skylab crashed near Balladonia and the local council went and fined NASA $400 for littering as a joke. This is Ceduna Roadhouse, and here you'll find a motel and caravan park. Make sure to stop off for petrol and a bite to eat before hitting the road. Or play a round of golf on the Nullarbor links. This is a 90-mile straight. So that was Ceduna, and Ceduna is part of Nullarbor Links, which is the world's longest golf course. And here we are at Cocklebiddy. You can pick up some fuel or stay at the motel or caravan park. Pick up a snack for the road or have a meal in the dining room. Or relax with a beer at the bar. As you drive along the air highway, you'll find that there's lots of parking bays that you can pull into if you're feeling tired. Some of them even have toilets. If you are planning to stay at one of the roadhouses along the Nullarbor, do make sure to book your accommodation early. We did try to book accommodation at Baladonia, Ceduna and Cocklebiddy, but they were all booked out until next month. So really do get in there and book as soon as you know what your plans are. Mildura has a choice of caravan park and motel accommodation. You can stop off for a bite at the snack bar, or have a meal in the dining room. It is the place to learn more about the Mildura Pass. We've been driving for almost 7 hours, and I have to say it's really tiring. The scenery is very monotonous and it really does make you drowsy. So we'll be happy to get to Mundrabilla to our accommodation. If you're looking for accommodation, Mundrabilla Roadhouse has a caravan park and motel. There's a bar and beer garden, pool table. You can check out the time at your next destination or have a meal in the dining room. a good choice of traditional family favourites, and the meals are large. Mundrubilla is also part of the Nullarbor Links. The first hole is in Ceduna, South Australia, and the 18th hole is in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia, making the Nullarbor Links the longest golf course in the world. As you walk around, you'll find the ground littered with shells. And the sunsets are spectacular. So we say goodbye to Mundrubilla Roadhouse, and today we'll be crossing over the South Australian border. The rooms at Mundrubilla Roadhouse are rustic, but the sheets were clean and the bed was really comfortable, so we had a really good night's sleep. One thing though, they have run out of unleaded petrol, and we've also found out that the next stop, Eucla, has also run out of unleaded petrol. There is a big roadhouse at the border, and we've been told there's plenty of petrol there. We always make sure we top up every place we go to. We have enough petrol for quite a while now, but that is something that you probably do need to think about. They did have really great meals, really big meals too, trucky-sized meals, and but the kitchen closes at 6:30 p.m. So make sure if you're coming from whatever direction to have something ready if they're closed. During the trip from Norseman to Mundrubilla, the internet has been scarce. There are pockets where you'll get internet, but it's just for a short period of time. We did get internet at Madura, which is the roadhouse just before Mundrubilla. So we'll let you know how the internet goes for the rest of the trip. Here we are at Eucla, and Eucla has a motel and a caravan park. All the staff were helpful and friendly, and they gave us lots of tips for travelling on the Nullarbor. This is reception, and the kitchen makes an absolutely delicious brekkie wrap. There's a dining room. While there, you can learn more about the legendary Nullarbor nymph. And a swimming pool. And there's a small museum. So we've just crossed the border from Western Australia and now we're in South Australia. We're going to miss Western Australia. We really had a lovely time. So here we are at the Great Australian Bight Marine Park. Now this is the free one. You'll see it just after you get past Eucla. There'll be a sign which has a photograph on it. And here we are at another free lookout. Pretty wildflowers and beautiful views of the coastline. Make sure not to go too close to the cliff edges. And you might get a glimpse of the region's wildlife. And just look at those views. So here we are at the latest lookout, and we got so tired of the flies, we've gone and put our fly headgear on, and it's so much better than having the flies fly up our nose and in our ears. So this is lookout 1, and aren't the views spectacular? So if you're coming from Ceduna, that'll be the first lookout, and if you're coming from Eucla, that will be the 4th lookout. So as you're driving along the air highway, you'll see a sign which has a plane on it, and on the road there'll be something that looks like a zebra crossing. And no, it's not a crossing for kangaroos, it's actually an emergency landing strip for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. So here we are at Nullarbor Roadhouse, and this is where we're going to be spending the night. You'll see signs telling you not to feed the dingoes. She's with me. You can see the old Nullarbor Roadhouse. Make sure to have a drink in the Oz Rock Legends bar. And check out the map to see how far you've come. So this morning we're heading from Nullarbor Roadhouse to Ceduna in South Australia, and that's around about a 3-hour journey if you don't make any stops. This is the Head of Bight Visitors Centre, and entry fees do apply. How much you pay depends on what season you visit. A visit to the Head of Bight is a must when you're crossing the Nullarbor. There's a boardwalk and lookout with the best views of the Bight.
So here we are at the head of the Bight in South Australia. This is the first stop if you're coming from the South Australia end, and the last stop if you're coming from the WA side.
And just look at that, simply breathtaking. We just saw a seal down there, but he's disappeared. That was the head of the Bight, and the best time to visit is between May and October because it becomes a whale nursery, and the best time to be there is July because that's when they have their babies. Absolutely beautiful spot, no matter what time of year you go. That was Yalata. Now Yalata is an Aboriginal community, and like many Aboriginal communities is closed to the general public because of COVID. So if you need petrol, you will need to go on to the next town. Here we are in Nundru, where you can grab yourself some petrol. And there's a hotel, motel and bar. And a caravan park. We have a friend that walked across the Nullarbor. Hello, Lee. Anyway, say we've always been impressed with what he had done, but now that we've actually driven across Nullarbor and seen it for ourselves, we really understand what an incredible feat it was. So here we are in Penong, South Australia, and it's home to Australia's largest windmill. We just left Penong in South Australia, and that's the first town that we've come across since we left Norseman in Western Australia. So here we are at Ceduna.